So we messed up. We didn't know when we recorded this Dr. Odyssey episode that what we saw was not the whole first season. I guess it was one of those like mid-season and then we take a break for sweeps or whatever it was. So, none of
Yep.
our comments are going to address like the second half of the show, but
Nope.
I it's speaking for me, not necessarily Kate. Nothing that I've seen since that break has changed any of my opinions about the show. So
Same.
it's fine. Yeah.
Same. I
It
stand
was
by everything I
cool.
said.
Yeah. It was cool. They did a random 911 crossover episode where Angela Bassett played her character from that show. That was neat. Um Catherine Newton and Paris Jackson appeared in an episode. I mean, continuing the celebrity guest show things, but really nothing that's changed any of my thoughts. So
Now, I still stand by that if you're looking for some delicious eye candy of all persuasions, it's a great place to dick around on your phone.
yeah, I look forward to hearing about like whatever the season finale is, and maybe we can discuss that in a what are you binging in another episode down the line.
I literally cannot wait,
Yeah.
except the fact that it will be over, and that'll make me really sad to
I
wait
mean,
for the
I'm
next
sure
season.
it'll get picked up
Although
for another season.
actually, it's on life support right now. The
Really?
studio, the whatever ABC, CB, whatever studio it is, they haven't decided yet.
I have
I'm
to
like,
imagine it's not a cheap show to make. Like,
who cares? It's gorgeous.
all right.
Cannot wait.
That said, enjoy the episode.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Binge Fest. I'm Kate Conroy,
And I'm Vinnie Civitello.
and every other week we come at you shit talking another TV show. Sometimes we love talk it, but you
I
know,
think we very rarely shit talked a show. Like, I think it was like Preacher, and that might be it. Maybe Gilmore Girls.
that's a really good point. I don't know why that didn't occur to me. You're right. We rarely shit talk, even though we're not afraid to. If you've got
Right.
a show that you're hate watching, like Heart of Dixie, does anybody remember Heart of Dixie way back when? I hate
So,
watching that
Heart
show.
of Dixie is interesting because, like, I don't remember which one is which. There's Heart of Dixie, and then there's that Virgin River show. And so I call it Heart of Virgin River because it's the same show. Like, the
Right.
same show. And Tara watches both of them. So, like, one of them will be on, and I'm like, wait, which one is this? Is this the one with Annette O'Toole? Is this the not? I don't know. Like,
God, they're both terrible, but
yeah.
Heart of Dixie at least had um some comic relief.
Sure. I don't know. I've only caught episodes of each one, and I don't even remember which is which, so I
You
couldn't
don't
tell
need
you.
to, actually. I take it all back. You don't need to know which is which. I only brought it up because I watched Heart of Dixie once a long time ago, and then I got really sick once, and I rewatched it because I just needed noise in the background for while I was in bed. And I remember saying to somebody, "I'm miserable. I'm rewatching Heart of Dixie, and this is a show I hate watched the first time around."
Watched.
Yeah. So
How? Wait,
anyway,
wait, wait. What's the difference between hate watching something and just like not enjoying it and stopping? Like, why would you continue on when normally you're just like, I give a show like one or two and then I'm out?
okay, so for me, I watch a show for multiple reasons, and sometimes often including the fashion. The fashion on Heart of Dixie was so good.
Wow.
The show itself was not. The dialogue, the the storylines. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't amazing. And but I loved watching the fashion. So I guess I hate watched it because I at least got to see beautiful like artwork on my screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
That feels like a really dumb reason to watch. I'm not
It is.
judging. Well, I am judging. I'm judging hard. It feels like a dumb reason to watch a show. You know?
Toward the end, the fashion is the only reason I was watching Friends, just to see what the girls would be wearing that week. It wasn't a great show.
No,
Sorry, not sorry.
no. I stopped watching that like way before most people did. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't good.
Anyway, I don't even remember. How did we get on Heart of Dixie? Heart of Virgin River?
The talking shows.
Right, right, right. Okay,
Right?
go ahead.
So anyway, thanks for tuning into Binge Fest, the show where you can listen to us talk, sometimes with love and sometimes with shit, every other week. Today we're talking about Dr. Odyssey. But first, Vin, what are you currently binging?
So this, but
Me too.
just to pull something out of the hat, just so that we can talk about something. And I know you watched this too. I finished up Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, or at least the
One episode of that.
it was like they put out like the first half of season one, and then I guess we're gonna wait for the rest.
Are we
Um,
are we gonna wait for it and watch it
I'm
when it comes?
totally gonna watch that. I mean,
Yay!
I watched I don't even know how long it was, maybe like 6 or 7 years of Young Sheldon,
Ugh,
and Young Sheldon was a show that was like annoying because Sheldon himself was annoying. And I'm not putting this on the actor, like Ian Armitage, whatever his name
yeah,
was
whatever his name,
actually fine in the role. It was just
the character.
it's the character. And it was so depressing because everything around Sheldon was a pretty good sitcom. Like, the family was great. The drama between his dad and the neighbor, that was like cooking. And then you had Georgie and Mandy, which became like a huge deal in the last couple seasons. And I was like, if only this one character just wasn't on the show anymore, it would actually be pretty good. And that's what they did, and it worked. I don't know.
Okay, so I think maybe my problem is that I just don't like sitcoms
Yeah.
because they just feel so fake and stupid. I've never liked sitcoms. Like I don't like I Love Lucy. So maybe that's my problem with it.
I feel okay, so that we got to unpack that. Like the I don't like I Love Lucy thing. I mean, I guess it works. It's fine to say that in like 2025, but have you never liked it? Like, even as a kid or anything like that?
Hated
No.
it. As a child, my
Okay.
grandmother used to put on reruns because that's how old I am.
Mm,
And never liked it. Didn't like Donna Reed, didn't like all the Nick at Night Father Knows Best bullshit. Didn't really like Family Ties. Don't like sitcoms. I don't like sitcoms. They're just so cloyingly sweet and stupid. I hate them.
mm. I guess I don't know. I'm kind of caught in between that we don't need a laugh track show anymore. And
Right.
I don't know, this was actually pretty sweet. Like I I've often said on this show there are shows that are good for when you're like messing around on your phone, and like a
Ditching them.
sitcom that you can just I mean you've often said like the palate cleanser at night or whatever,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
do Modern Family, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. This is not vastly different from that.
No, you're
It's a little
right.
bit more innocent than say Always Sunny in Philadelphia for sure.
Yeah.
But what I love about it is it's funny, and if my daughter happens to walk in the room, I don't have to jump for the remote and be
Okay.
like, "Oh my gosh, hold on."
That's a good point. For people
Yeah.
with kids, the sitcom is a staple for a reason. You're right. You're right.
Actually, when they did Fuller House, I know how much you love Fuller House. Yeah. For our audio only audience, Kate is making a barfing face right now. But Jodie Sweetin, who played Stephanie Tanner on the show, actually said that there was like a hole. Like we were missing this kind of show on television. And whether you personally enjoy like a very innocent, saccharine kind of sitcom or not, it's not like our cup runneth over with them like it did back in the day?
Thank
So if you're
God.
looking for like a sweet family sitcom, first of all, yes, Fuller House, but also Georgie and Mandy's first wedding. Not wedding, marriage, sorry.
First marriage.
Yeah,
Disagree, but it's the beauty of this show. We can disagree.
sure.
Yeah. So is that what you were binging? Is that what Georgie and
Yeah.
Mandy? Okay. I
I mean,
love the
really, I'm binging. I just got done with Dr. Odyssey, and before that, Severance, which is what we're going to be talking about in the next show. But yeah,
yeah. So wait, did Apple drop all the Severance episodes? Can I watch the
no,
whole thing today? No.
no, you can do up to as of the time we're recording this, you can do episode 3. This is actually interesting.
Oh,
This is the first episode of this show we are recording since the show went live. Yeah,
that's incredible.
yeah,
Well, first of all, that's crap. And
yeah.
I don't like it when I can't binge something
I
when I
mean,
want.
basically nobody does the Netflix model but Netflix. I don't know, like,
Bullshit.
yeah, and it's not even like Netflix really does the Netflix model anymore because like I don't get all of Cobra Kai season 6. I get Cobra Kai season 6 part 1, part 2, part 3, Stranger Things which will show up in like 2042, you know.
I can't believe they're still trying to milk Stranger Things for anything anymore. Like, just
I
let
I
a dead
really
horse.
do want to see how it ends. I don't, are you caught up on that?
No, are you crazy? No, I think I watched the first two seasons, and then it got to be like one scary mofo. And I heard from the grapevine, i.e., you, that it wasn't great, and I was like, "Fuck that!" No.
I'd have to. I mean, it's so funny. Like it's been years since I've seen this show because you know they're taking their sweet time with that last season.
And
I
it's
remember it being good. I mean, like I remember the earlier seasons for sure are amazing.
I know, when Mikey or Joey or whatever was trapped in the upside down and the lights, and Winona Ryder thought she was crazy, and the cop was like this brave. Like that was a great, great, great
Yeah,
fucking show. Great.
yeah.
And now, I'm sorry, but there has to be an executive at Netflix who's like, let's go. We're going to lose the audience. They're aging out of being interested in this. Let's go.
I don't know about that because it's not like it's a kids show. I mean, yes, there are
But
kids on the show for sure, but they're not. It's an R-rated show for sure. Like this isn't a show that's aimed at adults. It
yeah, okay,
might
that's
be
stupid.
their best adult programming at the moment. Like Cobra Kai is obviously, you know, targeting adults who are nostalgic for the old
Okay,
thing.
okay. For men,
Sure,
Bridgerton and Queen Charlotte, the women are all over that, and that is a Netflix
sure,
original.
okay. I don't know that like okay, fine. I would say that Bridgerton and Stranger Things in each of their like while Stranger Things was releasing episodes,
Yeah,
they were
yeah,
both on that same level of like cultural zeitgeist.
yeah.
Like I can tell you, I mean I can't cancel Netflix because the daughter will lose her mind. But if it weren't for that now, the day after Stranger Things drops and I guess the last part of the last season of Cobra Kai, I could drop my Netflix subscription and never look back.
Well, it's interesting
Um,
you say that because that is what I'm going to talk about in my currently binging.
Go ahead.
Uh,
Great transition. There we
I
go.
know, right? Look at me segueing like a freaking pro. The show that I'm currently binging is called Younger, which is it stars Sutton Foster, who is actually legitimately ridiculously famous on Broadway. Like I'm not sure that so many people know who she is outside of Broadway. Most recently she did, oh God, not I can't think of it, but before this most recent, she co-starred against Hugh Jackman in the revival of The Music Man. Like she is fucking famous on Broadway. Um, and Younger is the story of a woman who is 40 years old, recently divorced. Her kid is off to college, and she cannot find a job in the publishing world because she's too old. She took 15 years off to raise her kid. And so she decides to lie about her age, and she says that she's 26 years old, and she gets a job as like an assistant at a publishing house. And then the show is all about like trying to get promoted and also trying to hide that she's in her 40s, which is ridiculous. Like, I'm just going to put that out there. She looks amazing and she doesn't look 26. Hilary Duff is her coworker at the publishing house. And, you know, I can take or leave Hilary Duff on a good day. But all the rest of the cast are pretty good, including Debbie Mazar, who plays Sutton Foster's 40-ish roommate, who's an artist. She's gay. She's got this loft in Brooklyn. And so Sutton Foster stays there while she's trying to make a go of it with this crazy new career that she's got. It's entertaining. The clothes are fun. The story is it's okay. It's like my palate cleanser for before bed show.
You have a lot of those.
Yeah. Well, they rotate.
Okay. So wait. Oh, I think I missed it. What is it on, and are you canceling it whenever you're done with this?
Sorry. It's on Netflix.
And you're gonna cancel Netflix? I find that hard to believe.
Absolutely not. I will never cancel
Yeah.
Netflix. It'll be so
So then
ridiculous.
that was a poor segue. I don't know how you pulled that out.
Sorry, no, I meant that speaking of the platform you're going to cancel, I'm currently watching this and I will never cancel it. That was my
Gotcha.
segue,
I
which
mean,
is poorly done.
I know
Apologies.
though the one that I absolutely will cancel. As soon as Severance season 2 is done, we'll see like when they decide to drop the next season of the morning show because I'm caught up on that. But
Hated
if
that
it's
show.
not like right soon after Severance is done, then I'm dropping Apple for a long time because it was what 3 years since they last came out with a season of Severance, and I've just been paying the stupid thing every month. And I watched Severance and the Morning Show, and that was it. And I watched Coda, which was also an Apple Plus
Okay, well,
exclusive.
you're not using your Apple subscription appropriately because
I
there's
know. That's the idea of canceling.
Shrinking. There are some really good shows on Apple that you maybe need to explore.
All right.
Shrinking for sure. Shrinking is amazing, and Trying is Trying is if Georgie and Mandy were actually good.
Trying is the show that they keep trying to push on me. So like whenever an episode of Severance ends, Trying
Yeah.
is the one. It was Rashida Jones is the star.
No, you're thinking of a completely different show.
Oh really? I don't know. There's a show I thought was Trying that was that I don't know.
No, Trying is about this man and woman who are in their 20s. They're in love and life is good and they're trying to have a baby and they can't. And that is the premise of the show. It is adorable.
I'm trying to look up. So I guess Sunny is the one that's the Rashida
Yeah,
Jones. What's
Sunny is.
Trying? Hold on. I'm googling this just so I can. Oh no, they haven't pushed this on me yet. All right.
And there's 3 episodes or three or four seasons of it. So you can like binge through it and it's so good. Like the writing is good and the acting is good.
All right.
It's all good.
Okay.
And Shrinking. I can't believe we haven't talked about Shrinking yet.
I've never heard of Shrinking. What's Shrinking about?
Okay, well, Shrinking is about this man who is a shrink. He's a psychiatrist, and his wife is very horribly killed in a drunk driving accident, and he does not cope well. So when the show starts, we're a year into his mourning. His neighbor is essentially raising his daughter, and he comes home every night with like hookers and coke, and like it's bad. And he's a psychiatrist, and he's slowly losing the thread on that. So he goes into session one day and this this woman is in an abusive relationship and he's like, what if you just kill him? Like, not like that, but maybe on your next hike he doesn't come back, maybe he slips and falls. Like, he starts to give really really bad advice in a very funny way. And his boss bonus is played by Harrison Ford. You
Okay.
have to watch it.
Sure. As I was thinking, as you were talking, I was thinking they're also going to be releasing Ted Lasso season 4, which is another show that I've watched on Apple Plus.
I'm so nervous about that. It was kind of time for Ted to be
There,
done.
there's no way it's going to be good. Okay, good, sure. There's no way it's going to be like as good as Ted Lasso seasons 1 through 3. So
I
I don't
mean,
know,
there were
but
moments in season 3.
certainly going to watch it.
Obviously, I'm gonna watch it, but there were moments in season 3 when I was like, "We've jumped the shark now, right? We've jumped the shark." In
With
fact,
what?
do you remember when Ted had the bright idea of tying everybody's junk together with
That was
string?
fucking hilarious. That wasn't
It
Ted's
was.
idea. That couldn't have been Ted's idea. That had to be like Roy Kent's idea or something.
You thought that was fun. I was just like, "There's no way that this would fly in an actual like." Come, I'm sorry, but no.
I mean, in a male athletic environment, yeah. I mean, not in America, but like they're not in America.
Maybe
So
I just don't. I'm not around male environments enough, and I just, as a woman watching that, I was like, this is a lawsuit waiting to happen. There's no fucking way that HR would allow anything like this to ever happen.
yeah, here. I
Okay,
mean,
so
I'm suspending my disbelief and believing that in Britain they don't have these kinds of laws. If they didn't have those kinds of laws here, yeah, I could see that happening at a male athletic practice, adult, not like high school or anything.
all right, okay, so you could suspend disbelief enough to believe that a grown ass man would be handed a string and told to tie it to his junk, and he would be like, yeah, this isn't the most sensitive and protected place on my body.
I'm not saying the guy would enjoy it. I'm not saying the guy would be like, oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a great idea. I'm saying that, like, in an athletic professional environment where your coach is telling you to do something, you do it, you know?
No way.
Yeah.
I call bullshit. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying I'm willing to suspend my disbelief. I'm not saying that this happens all the time. I'm just saying. Yeah.
We were talking
Dr.
about
Odyssey, right?
Actor Odyssey. All right. So, do you want to give the premise or you want me to give the premise? I mean,
I guess I could give the premise. But you're not gonna like my premise.
oh
It's a
no,
med show on a cruise ship. Done.
it's a what?
It's a med drama on a cruise ship. That's all you need to know about this show. Like,
Yes, no, totally. 100% correct. I don't
so
disagree with that at all.
I mean, I'm going to tell you, I stopped watching med dramas like 10, 15 years ago. And the reason why, and if you had told me before we start, I mean, maybe you did, and I just wasn't paying attention, that this was a med drama, I would have just been like, yeah, no, we'll pick something else to watch for this.
The
But like, I
sequels
watched
are
ER, CSI, NCIS, House, and they're all the same show. It's like,
so
okay, we're going to get a medical dictionary, we're going to close our eyes, and we're going to point to some rare disease. And like, that's suddenly what we've got. Oh, what's that? Did you say you just had macadamia nuts in Papua New Guinea? Well, that clearly is West African Ebola. Like,
not surmise from the title Dr. Odyssey that this might be a med show?
Doctor Who is not a med drama. Doctor Strange is not a med drama.
I'm
You
sorry,
can
those
Doctor
aren't
Evil has nothing to do with that. Odyssey kind of implies a certain amount of science fiction to me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. All right. So that being said, did you hate it?
I didn't hate it, but I mean, it's another med drama. I don't know.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm
so there were a couple things that I found interesting about it. Like, number one, you have a new twist on a love triangle where and I mean, I might as well get into it now. There's
What?
three main characters. And I'm looking up the names here, even though I should know them.
Tristan,
The
Max,
doctor, Max, Tristan, and Avery,
Avery. Yep.
and the both of them like the girl, and you
Yep.
think it's like, okay, well, one of us is gonna get her, loser, the other one's gonna get her, loser, the other one's gonna get her, like that's how this show is gonna progress. But no, instead she attempts to pursue a threesome, like and not just a one-off threesome, but a thruple.
She
That's what
doesn't
she
attempt to
wants.
pursue. They have a threesome,
They have
and
a
then
threesome, she attempts to pursue a thruple. Yeah.
she attempts to pursue a throuple.
Yeah.
And Max, the older and wiser statesman of the group, is like, nah, I'm a one-woman man. I can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And both Avery and Tristan are like, sad.
Yeah. And I mean the whole thing, it surprises me that they're like that into this girl because she's got the personality of wood. And I mean, I don't know. Of course, she's a good doctor, which I guess counts for something, like, oh, she saves lives, she's a good person. But like, if you're gonna have a personality that's that bland, you better be being played by like Megan Fox or something. If like every guy on the show is willing to like have sex with other guys to be with you,
Okay. So I want to pause right here and acknowledge that everybody who watches our show has to already have watched the show that we're talking about. So let's just stop talking about spoilers and like,
Yeah.
because seriously, I've been stressed about that. Okay, and this is a Ryan Murphy show. So was it you that told me that Ryan Murphy on Glee, he didn't expect that show to get greenlit past season 1, so he just threw
Yeah.
every.
I was about to tell you I have no idea who Ryan Murphy is, but yes, the way that they wrote Glee was that season 1, part 1, the first half of season 1 was a full and complete show. Like, right. I'm not saying it was like everything that would ever be in Glee, but it was like if all they ever got was season 1, part 1,
right,
that was enough to tell a complete story. Then
also,
obviously it becomes a big hit and they need to go on. So then they start adding in more goals for the characters after that. But yeah.
But also, you absolutely know who Ryan Murphy is. He's the guy who does the American Horror Story series.
So I saw season 1 of American Horror Story, and I can't remember if it was season 2 or season 3. One of those is just straight up awful, and I never picked it up again. I mean, there was a point where American Horror Story was on sale on Vudu for like $20, and it was like the whole series. So I bought the whole series. So if you're telling me it's really good, maybe during like Halloween season or something, I'll watch it.
It's too scary for me. I never watched it. I have no idea. It's scary for me, but I know that he's got this reputation. He also has done the Feuds show on
that first one with Betty and Joan was really good. I didn't watch the stuff after that. Yeah,
that was great. I didn't watch the Swans, or I started to, and I didn't love it. But anyway, so Ryan Murphy has a reputation for being like outrageous and interesting with great stories. And I feel like he's got the bones of it here. Here's the thing about Avery. Do you remember Hamilton on Broadway?
I yes, I remember it. I don't, I
Okay.
don't
I know
remember it well enough. You tell me she was in it, I'm not gonna remember. But like, yeah,
that's the thing. She played Eliza Hamilton.
okay,
Sue, who plays Avery, also played Eliza Hamilton, which is a very important character. She has a great
sure.
voice. And I'm sure, and I believe that this was like her first or second role post Hamilton on TV. And it was a get. I'm sure that for Ryan Murphy, Philippa Sue was a huge get. And you're right. He didn't write Avery in such a way that her personality could compete with her other attributes. Like, I think she's supposed to be like this beautiful, skinny, every outfit looks perfect on her. And that's why the boys are like, oh my gosh, of course I'll have a threesome, right?
Yeah, right. Like, it's funny. Many episodes ago, whenever we talked about, it was probably Fargo when we were talking about what's her name, the lead of Fargo season 5, who was in Ted
Oh,
Lasso.
Keely Jones, not Keely
Yeah.
Jones.
Okay, but
Julie
I'm gonna be
Temple.
talking. Yeah, when we talk about Keely Jones, I mean, I made mention of the fact that she just like it didn't work for me, her being that character with that backstory in Ted Lasso, because you had like adult males with like naked posters of her up on her wall of their walls. And she is not men's magazine hot. Like there is a difference between like Julia Roberts, who is classically beautiful, and like Angelina Jolie, who could like be on the cover of Maxim magazine. And I'm not saying that either one of them is any less a 10. It's just that like there are different genres of hot, and I didn't buy her in that role. I did not buy Philippa Sue in the role of like this person that like guys are just tripping over themselves to get to, and the personality did not help. That's all I'm saying.
I think that's fair.
And then I
Uh,
really rolled my eyes when, like, early on in the season, when she's trying to get with Max, she's like crapping on Tristan and saying like, "Oh, he wants to get with me." Ugh, blech. And then like 4 episodes later, she's like, "Yeah, I'd fuck him." What? I don't know.
writing is it could definitely be better. Okay,
Yeah.
but the thing I liked about Dr. Odyssey is it felt like a throwback to a mashup of some of my favorite shows from when I was growing up. The Love Boat meets Dynasty meets Dallas meets Falcon Crest, right? Like, do you remember The Love Boat?
No, that's way before my time. That's got to be 70s, right? I was born in the 80s. Yeah.
I sometimes forget how much older I am.
Yeah.
The Love Boat was so fun. It was like an Aaron Spelling show. It was glamorous and glitzy and sexy. The stories were never great. The stories were always, there was a guest of the week with a problem. But the crew was hot. There was a cruise director named Julie, and she was like perky and fun. And the captain was single, and sometimes he would have the sexy times. And like it was just so um beautifully fluffy and light and gorgeous. I'm not, and I'm sure it doesn't stand up to time. I'm sure that if I were to rewatch a Love Boat episode, I would barf in a pail next to my feet. It would just be bad. But this is what Ryan was attempting to recreate. And I think he did a good job. It's glitzy, it's glamorous, it's sexy. And I thought it was fun. I loved it. I'm gonna watch season 2 so hard.
It was fun. I mean, I think I sent you a text that said like I started it like 9 or 10 o'clock at night on, I
Yeah.
don't know, let's say Friday. And
Yeah.
then I sent you a text saying I was done with it like
Yeah.
maybe 11 noon Saturday.
Yeah.
So I did get through it really quickly. I mean, part of that was like, oh, this is only 8 episodes. Like I can do that, you know?
Seriously.
And it's funny when I started it, or not when I first started, but like as I was into it, um, that Saturday morning I felt comfortable putting it on because I was like, yes, there are some moments where they get like pretty sexual, but if like my daughter walks in the room, odds are that's not what she's going to be seeing. And then sure enough, like she walks in and there was like it was a moment where like four guys were in a bed together, and it was so funny. Like she didn't bat an eye at like the gay sex thing. Not that she knew they were having sex. She asked why there were four of them. I was like, you know what? To be honest,
I don't know.
I don't have an answer for that. I'm sorry. Like,
Oh, that's too funny.
but yeah, it was fine. It was fun. You know, like maybe every 15, 20 years I could do a med drama. I don't know, but like this is not the kind of thing I need in my life like every because it's the same show every time. Like I did think I didn't mention this before and I was saying there were like two things that I found pretty interesting about this. Setting it on a cruise ship gave its own little challenges. Like there's an episode where Avery's appendix is about to burst, and so they have to do surgery in the middle of a hurricane. And like the ship is actually moving, like as they're sticking their hands into her stomach or wherever the appendix is. I'm sorry, I didn't become a doctor. Um, but the ship is actually moving and like they've got their feet on the wall to prevent themselves from falling, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty crazy, but they can't wait until they get all the way to the port. So I thought that was interesting. That was a nice little twist on it.
I agree. I feel like the premise of the show offers so many fun opportunities for excellent guest stars and crazy situations that they have to get through. I loved it. I
Can I
can't wait.
pause you there for a second? So the crazy situations, I didn't one of the things I did not like about this show was that every single week needed to be like a different theme. Like this is the theme where we've got people with rubber ducks on the boat, and this is the theme where we've got the gay cruise, and this is the theme where what were some of the other ones? It was singles week, it was wellness
Oh,
week,
being
and
wellness,
then
crackers. Oh, daddy.
they begged the captain not to do wellness week again because I guess they do all of these themes every year with the exception of the Quackers one, which I guess they were doing for the first time. But then that tells me season 2 ought to be here's the Quackers week and here's like the same themes because like you're saying these are the themes you do every year, but like I don't know.
Because not okay, we didn't just get to see only sorry, we only saw 8 weeks out of 52 in their calendar. So just like in the Gilmore Girls, where every year there's a town festival that we've never heard of, they don't recreate the town festival every year. There's always
Right.
something, there's going to be new themes for this every week.
I guess, but then like I have a hard time suspending my disbelief on that because it's not like a Gilmore Girls where we're going to take 3 months off and then come back. Like taking 3 months off is what you would have to do because of hurricane season and everything. Like you gotta. There's only like certain times a year where they can like do this, right? Like
Take 3 months off. I don't think that the show's going to come back anytime soon, right?
no, no, no. Well, it is. It's going to be March is when the new episodes come. As of the time you're hearing this, I guess it's already back. But no, I mean like it's there's a defined period in the year where this show can take place versus like a Gilmore Girls where it can be any time in the year. Except now we're going to take 3 months off because like that's the typical season finale into season next season
Being
thing.
too literal. You're being too literal. They're on a ship. They can cruise anywhere there's water. Okay, they
I
can they
guess.
can they can leave the hurricane infested waters of the Atlantic and they can go to the Pacific. They can calm down.
But I did think that like theming it every week got a little hokey. It was like, all right, you're supposed to be this elegant ship. Why is there the need for like this random theme week? I don't know.
I'll tell you. Because it's not under their control. Like they're annoyed too. Remember when the
Oh,
owner
I know.
shows and the owner is like, everybody in this week is blah blah blah. And they
By the
hate
way, the wonderful, magnificent Gina Gershon.
I do love her.
Yeah,
And she's just chewing the scenery like nobody's business in this show.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that they were all annoyed as well. And everybody reports to somebody, right? Like she is their boss. And she decides to do a Halloween week and a
Halloween week,
Quackers.
yeah.
I feel like we're meant, if you don't like it, that's okay. You're allowed to be annoyed because they're annoyed too.
They were annoyed by Quackers Week and Wellness Week. I don't think they had any problems with the rest of the weeks.
I don't remember.
Um, yeah, in fact, they were all in on Halloween. Like the two of them were competing with each other like nuts over Halloween.
Why would that upset you? You love Halloween.
I love Halloween. I'm saying it's hokey that every episode needs to be a different
Yeah.
theme.
It
Like,
is hokey. It
yeah,
is. It is. I'm not gonna argue with you there, but it didn't bother me because I just assumed that it was somebody else's decision.
yeah.
Can we talk about Joshua Jackson for a second?
You know what's funny is that I didn't even recognize him at first. I was watching it, when they first introduced Joshua Jackson, they do that thing where like you see the back of his head and then it kind of like turns around and we're like, oh shit, Joshua Jackson's back. But I didn't recognize him because I haven't seen Joshua Jackson since he was a kid. Didn't watch Dawson's Creek. I know he was like big in that.
I never watched Dawson's Creek either. I was
Yeah.
too old.
But Tara walks in the room and she's like, oh, Joshua Jackson. I'm like, that's not Joshua Jackson. She goes, bite me. That's Joshua Jackson. So I had to look it up. I'm like, all right, sure enough, you're right.
I love that. Props to
But
you,
yeah,
Tara.
he was very good in this. I mean, I did think it was pushing it in 2025 to be watching a show where like the boss is trying to get with the the subordinate employee this hard, especially when you have the other subordinate employee that really wants her, so like
And they talk so openly about how bad this would be if HR ever found out. Like they're
yeah,
not
but
they're not trying.
nothing ever comes of it.
No, and nothing ever comes of it. You're right. Okay, but I just think okay, just sorry, circling back to Joshua Jackson.
Mm.
I heard an interview with him. I think it was Brett Goldstein, the guy who plays Roy Kent on Ted
Ted
Lasso.
Lasso.
He has a podcast and he interviewed Joshua Jackson. And Joshua Jackson literally said, after Dawson's Creek, I was so burned out on a 22 episode season for multiple seasons in a row that he took a really, really long break. And it was only his love of sci-fi that got him interested in what was the name of that show with Walter Bishop? Fringe. Do you remember Fringe?
I remember Fringe. I didn't watch it.
It was great.
Like I know of Fringe.
It was great. Maybe we should do Fringe someday. But that's
Right.
but anyway. So it was only his love of sci-fi that got him into Fringe. And then he took another long break and he was looking for something just light and silly and fun. And that's what got him interested in Dr. Odyssey. And I would just like to thank.
Wait, who did he play in that?
Who did he play in Fringe?
Yeah, no, sorry, in Dr. Odyssey.
Joshua Jackson?
No, Roy Kent.
Nobody. Roy Kent.
Oh, I thought you said you were reading an interview with Roy Kent, who was like, I got interested in this because of that, or whatever.
I was listening to a podcast. Joshua Jackson told Roy Kent.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Proceed.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm not sure I know what my point is anymore. I would like to officially thank Ryan Murphy for getting Joshua Jackson back on screen because
Okay.
easy on the eyes. Like, really.
How long has it been? I mean, I haven't seen him okay, I guess now that I'm thinking about it, he was in The Skulls, which was like around the same time he would have been in Dawson's Creek. So that would have been like
Well,
2001.
you've got the cast list pulled up, right?
Yeah.
You could tell us his
I
filmography.
guess.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure, whenever I say like so-and-so hasn't been in anything in like 20 years, they're like, no, actually so-and-so has been in something every year for the last 20
You're
years.
going to find a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I mean, he's in something like basically every year, but it's nothing like major. He's in the Unbreakable one episode. Okay.
The Unbreakable.
Jimmy Schmidt.
Really?
Yeah, one episode, so whatever. Fringe, yeah, 100 episodes.
He was great in that.
Yeah. And then something every year for sure, but nothing like I've really heard of. Yeah.
Maybe he didn't want a series on his back anymore and he was just doing these one-off episodes for fun.
I mean, they're mostly movies, but they're like movies I haven't heard of. So. Yeah.
By the way, you see my mug here?
Oh, look at that! Shout out to NJBIA's Other People's Business.
That's right.
Every time NJBIA comes up, I feel the need to be overly positive about it. So if you're a business in New Jersey, check them out. You can get some great resources.
I just want to point out this is a Sunday. You're not at work right now, but you're still. That's so nice of you. Yeah. Yes, NJBIA, check them out if you're a business.
I mean, if nothing else, check out Other People's Business. As of the time we're recording this, it only just recently came down off the podcast networks we weren't going to pay the bills on that forever. But it is going to be available forever on YouTube. So every single episode is streaming on YouTube. You can check it out there. It's the two of us in what wound up being like what the precursor to this show.
Essentially, yeah.
So anyway, Joshua Jackson, right?
Yeah, big fan. Big fan. And you know what? I don't know who the actor was who played Tristan, but
Says Sean Teal.
not terrible to look at either. And
Sure.
Philippa Sue, beautiful. But it's interesting. Usually on a show that with a cast this large, they would cast women, multiple women with very different looks. Like if Philippa Sue is there, there should be some kind of buxom blonde for men to look at. Maybe this is just such a women's show.
Well, you have Laura Harrier. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that
Ooh.
wrong, but the chef.
Oh yeah, but she doesn't show up until like halfway through the season, right?
Oh, so you're saying right from the pilot we needed to have somebody?
Yeah. I
All
mean,
right.
usually that's how it goes. Like in Grey's Anatomy, you had Izzy, you had Meredith, and you had Sandra Oh,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Very different looks for the three leads.
I mean, I guess, but they're trying to get a throuple going on here. It's not like, okay, the two of them are going to be together while the two of them are going to be together, and then maybe we switch. It's not like that. They're trying to get everybody together on the, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
So
they've moved past that. Maybe season two has nothing to do with that at all. I don't know.
okay, so I watched this longer ago than you just did, but I gotta, if I remember correctly, Joshua Jackson put the kibosh on the
Yeah.
throuple like pretty fast.
So
So
did Tristan. He was like, I can't share you, like whatever.
right, so Avery was bummed, but the two men were like, "Nope, we're done with this."
Yeah.
So I don't think the throuple is a possibility anymore.
I don't know that it's not a possibility. I don't think they're actively jumping toward it right now. Because that's the thing. Okay, you have any show. We just did Superstore, like what, last episode, the episode
Yeah,
before.
yeah, so
Um, Superstore basically spent the entire series trying to get Amy and Jonah together.
yeah.
And yes, along the way, maybe there's a kiss, maybe they get together and they break up. But the ultimate goal is getting them together. And I don't know that that's not what this is. I don't know. I don't know. Like, but
Well, I mean, I for one am not going to be mad if I spend 8 seasons watching them flirt with each other.
Christ, 8 seasons. I could maybe, I don't know.
You're
I could
like,
give them like two more of this, but that's just me. I mean, I'm just like how you are kind of biased towards sitcoms. I think I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I don't need another exact cookie cutter med drama in my life.
but that's the thing. This isn't an exact cookie cutter. This
It
is
kind of is. Like it just from the structure, like every med drama is exactly the same. Like I said, pick a disease, pick a couple more because you need like two or three of them because like you can't
right.
just have one person sick, and it's always got to be something stupid rare that like, because like not like 9 out of 10 people on this boat are probably going to come in there with chlamydia. It can't be like chlamydia every episode. So we got to have like,
The STD outbreak, which is pretty funny. But also, like, some of these things are just so stupid and outrageous. Like, what about when the girl who had the nose job was doing coke and her nose fell off?
that was fucked up.
Not a
That's
cookie
fucked
cutter
up.
show.
I mean, but no, because like that's the sort of thing that would absolutely happen on a med drama, Like,
So funny.
yeah.
And she was horrified, and her friend was
Of
so
course she was horrified. I don't care who you are, your nose falls off, you're gonna be horrified.
oh my god. Okay, but what about when Bob the drag queen showed up and she was doing her number in the ballroom and her wig caught on
What was not cookie cutter about like third degree burns or whatever it was?
she's a drag
Is it
queen.
wait? Is it first degree burns that are the worst or third degree burns? Third degree burns are the worst, right?
Third degree, I think you're the worst.
Yeah.
Yes, no, that was sad, of course,
Yeah.
obviously. But what I'm saying is, this is the first mainstream show where a drag queen hasn't just been the hooker who gives a statement to the police after the fact. Bob the drag queen sang a song, had multiple lines like that. I don't know that that's ever happened before on television.
Okay, so I'll give it to them for doing that, but I'm not saying that like that kind of thing couldn't have happened on any other.
It's not cookie.
And I mean, it might be unfair of me to say that like that kind of thing could have happened on any other med drama, so they're all the same. Just like you could say any joke could have been on any sitcom. I get it. Like, but I'm just so over it. Like after all, like I don't know what were there 20 seasons of NCIS and eight to
Is
10
CIS
seasons of
medical though?
CSI, and
Those aren't
like
medical. Those are police, aren't they?
yeah, but like they always had like I don't know. You're right about NCIS, but like there would always because they had the Ducky who was like the
The
what's the
medical
word I'm
exam.
looking through the coroner, right? Like the so there's always like we're examining. I don't know. I'll give you ER to CSI to House was like really just I mean all right fine ER to House was all like the same thing and I threw this on and it was like the same thing. What are you saying you were in Morocco eating tea leaves in June? As a matter of fact, I was in Morocco eating tea leaves in June. Well, then you have June bird flu, which I know because I did my residency in Morocco in June.
Dude. All right, touche. Point taken.
Yeah.
I
Um,
yeah.
was it enjoyable? Yeah. If you're into the med drama thing, check it out. Like it was a good show.
I was just gonna say, listeners, we need your opinion.
Sure.
We need you to comment on this YouTube and tell us who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah.
Because I think
Well,
I'm
I mean,
right.
I'm not okay, but I'm not saying that it's a
This
bad show.
season.
I'm saying like if you're into med dramas, you're gonna like it, but
No, I think Vinny
not
was.
everybody is as you know why I threw CSI and NCIS in? Because that's a whole other thing that I'm like, I have
No,
too many of those. I put it in my head together. Like we have procedural med drama, we have procedural like let's call it like crime drama. And like Law and Order would be another one. I don't need like any more of these shows, especially since they all seem to spin off their own. Like here's Law and Order Miami, and here's CSI,
I
Mexico. I don't
I
know.
never got into those shows, and I'm so grateful. I've never even seen an episode of SVU or
Yeah.
CSI. And my mom watches NCIS like religiously.
I would say if you've never watched any of them or if, like whatever, check out one of them. Like throw on like CSI or NCIS. They're fantastic shows, especially at first. Like CSI and NCIS were amazing shows when they first started. And then what happens is what would naturally happen in a show like this is it goes on for like 15 years. The real like good cast members get like too good for it, so they leave. And then like they find out that like I'm sorry you weren't as big as you thought you were, so they come back, you know. But get out of there like season 4 ish. No matter
Yeah.
which show you're watching, season 4, season 5, be done.
All right. So this is why at the beginning I was like, this is the show where we shit talk TV because
Yeah.
we do. Like maybe we don't shit talk the show that we're actually going to be talking about. We shit talk a lot of TV on
Sure,
this.
sure.
Anyway, yeah. So we're watching Severance next.
Severance, yeah.
I'm psyched. I don't know when
So
that's gonna be though, because are we going to watch just season one or are we going to do
here's what
both?
we're gonna do. We'll talk primarily about season 1, and I guess we'll talk. This is interesting. Maybe we shouldn't do this because by the time this airs,
There might be a
season 2
season
will
two.
presumably be over, right?
Yeah.
Or at least it'll be close to being over. So I don't know that what we're going to talk about will be super relevant, but um,
What's the show that we talked about this episode that, yeah, we're going to have to come up with a different. I don't know if the Severance is a good idea anymore.
here's what we're going to do. We're going to pause the show, and Kate and I are going to figure out what to watch next. And when we unpause, we're going to have an idea. So we're going to watch Shrinking, which was one of the shows we talked about earlier in the episode. So how many seasons of that exist right now?
3 seasons, and
3.
they're 30-minute episodes, and I think like 8 or 10 episodes per season. So you'll
And I think
blow
this
through.
is Apple Plus, right?
Yeah, Apple Plus. And I'm excited because I'm gonna rewatch it, and I've been wanting to. It's a
Before
great show.
we totally close off the episode, I did want to talk quickly about some of the other guest stars. We mentioned Gina Gershon. They had some great guest stars on this show. Amy Sedaris was in at least one episode, I think. Um, Rachel Dretch, Shania Twain. Like they all played like they had like some great let's call it like random special guests on this show. And I
Which
did
is,
appreciate that.
again, it's reminiscent of the Love Boat, where every week there was a different guest on the ship played by an amazing guest star from the 70s and 80s.
I don't think they did that every single episode. I mean, there were a different revolving cast every episode, but I don't think there was like some big like you would know this person for sure guest in every single episode.
Are you talking about this show or The Love Boat?
This show, I told you I never watched The Love
I was
Boat.
gonna say we're gonna fight
I
if
know
you're
Ricardo Montalban, who was Khan, was like the star of that, right? That's all I know about The Love Boat.
the island.
Oh,
What's
so
wrong
I
with
didn't even
you?
know that. I thought I knew that, and I didn't.
I cannot with you right now. You're
Yeah.
crazy.
I'm
Duck.
gonna look this up. When was The Love Boat on?
I don't know.
The Love Boat, 1976. Are you kidding me? That's like 10 years before I was born.
What's the year I was born? So
Mm.
Cheyenne Jackson guest starred on this show. Oh, Margot Martindale. I forgot about her. Margaret Cho. Dr. Odyssey was fucking baller show. I love it.
Yeah. I'm looking. I have the cast list in front of me. The Margot Martindale thing was actually pretty funny.
All right.
That was the bride episode or whatever, you know.
Right. I'm looking up the Love Boat cast. Oh my God, Charo was on a shit ton
Who's
of Love Boat.
Charo?
Who's Charo? I
If
have
somebody was like big on TV in 1976, I'm probably not gonna know who they were unless they were also in like Star Wars or The Godfather.
Charo still shows up on RuPaul's Drag Race every once in a while.
I
Don't you
haven't
remember
really
the
watched that
Latin
either.
dancer with the big hair who was like hoochie coochie hoochie coochie?
Sorry, I did watch maybe like one season of that, and it was enjoyable, but I didn't actually continue on.
Stop talking.
Stop. All right.
Debbie
Check
Reynolds.
out Shrinking, and we'll catch you on the next show.
We will. All right. Bye.